Hi everybody. So in this video I wanted to talk about basically my sort of fitness, health and diet journey over the last couple of years. Back in the day, about 7 years ago, I made the leap to go vegan. This was actually for so many different reasons, but I had one kind of big one. It was really that I knew I needed to lose a bit of weight. At this point, I had just finished my master's degree at the University of Oxford. It was an incredibly stressful time and I was most definitely not managing my diet, exercise, or any aspect of my health in any healthy resembling way. I think I knew in the back of my head that I was overweight because I really struggled to look in the mirror at this point. I felt very uncomfortable in myself. I remember having this conversation with my husband saying, I think the tumble dryer is shrinking my clothes, and he was like, I don't think it is. God bless him, he didn't say, no fam, you're just fat. The reality was, and I knew it the day I decided to actually step on the scale, which I had been avoiding for years because I just didn't want anything to distract me from my academic work, which was my sort of one priority at this point. All I wanted was to just succeed in that, kind of get the grades on the CV and then move on with my life, whatever that would bring. But I did step on the scale one day, and I'm afraid to say, to my shock and horror, I was a pretty hefty, for me, I'm 5'3", 64 kilos, which is a bit over 10 stone. So as a short, small boned woman, this was a pretty profound shock. Previously, when I had been at sort of a heavier, uncomfortable size, it was, you know, considerably less than that. I knew I had gone way past the point and I knew I really needed to do something. This wasn't the only thing that made me want to lose weight. At this same time, I'd had an abnormal smear test. It came back that I had high risk precancerous cell changes in my cervix, which was also a huge shock. So I've got all these things going on whilst doing my master's. I think you can understand why I had such a terrible time at Oxford. Only half of it was for academic reasons. I went to the doctor and obviously I was in the process of getting treatment for this. She did say to me, you are overweight. Do you drink? Do you smoke? What's your diet like? I was completely ashamed to say that I ate complete crap. I was actually partially bulimic at this point as well, binging and purging on chocolate, cakes, whole world of crap effectively. I was smoking a little bit. I was drinking every single day basically. I was a student, so I felt like this was not a complete shambles. I just thought, well, you know, I'm a student, it's fine. I did feel bad in myself. I did feel uncomfortable with the way I was looking. I was just a lot heavier. My clothes didn't fit. I had no energy. And on a hot summer's day, I would sweat like a pig. All of those factors combined, along with the precancerous cells changes going on in my cervix, I was just like, God, something's really got to change. She did say you should think about making some lifestyle changes, because even though we're going to have to remove almost half of my cervix, actually, she was saying, I think you should give up smoking. She was trying to be nice because I wasn't obese, but I was chunky. She was saying you might want to think about losing a bit of weight and really cleaning up your lifestyle, because these are actually risk factors for cervical cancer. And I was just completely horrified and shocked, actually, because I'd never heard of this before. I was completely ignorant, actually, and it was a complete wake-up call. I basically just started doing tons of research on just dietary changes I could make to manifest a sustainable weight loss. Prior to this, obviously, as many of my long-term viewers will know, I did have an eating disorder. I dropped out of sixth form, actually, with anorexia. Even after I had recovered from anorexia during my early 20s, I had definitely struggled with bulimia. I've in fact had many relapses with bulimia, to be quite honest with you. And I really just wanted something that was going to stick and that had evidenced health benefits, because I'd had this, cancer scare effectively. It really, honestly, that time was very scary for me. It made me realize that I just hadn't been taking my health very seriously, and I'd been incredibly complacent, thinking, I'm just 25 years old or whatever I was at the time, and I was hardy enough to weather the lifestyle abuses, and it simply wasn't true. I decided that I was gonna really just sort of try to move my diet in a more natural direction. Previously, I was eating a vegetarian diet, but it was really just cobbled together with a whole bunch of crap. I used to believe that low-fat cheese slices were healthy. My diet was just so barren in fiber and micronutrients. It was, looking back, I genuinely wince, because it was really unsurprising why I felt so lackluster. I had no energy. Even when I just started including more fruits and veg. I remember in Oxford, I didn't really get out much because I was just so straight on with the studying. I would go out for like one little outing a day, if I would dare to get up from my desk, and I would go to M&S and I would treat myself to all their beautiful berries. And I started just making this habit of incorporating more healthy stuff into my diet. I think at this point there were healthy foods that I did enjoy, so I really was just thinking, well, what do I actually like from the sort of natural food spectrum that I can bring into my diet and make more of, basically. It really started with berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries. Slowly by slowly, I actually started what I consider to be the most important process in really any health journey, which is effectively a weaning period. At this point, I was trying to not only just lose weight, but also manage the sort of binge restrict cycle that I had gotten into. And I think so many people can relate to this. It's not just people who have a clinical or subclinical bulimia disorder or binge eating disorder. So many people in our society are in this cycle of having willpower or trying to make it work with willpower, and then just meeting the reality of their humanity, because actually willpower ain't it, basically. This weaning period was really about moving me away from the processed food, the pretend diet food, I guess you would call it, the Weight Watchers snacks, 0% fat, cheeses, yogurts, breads. And I think I just sort of decided, well, this stuff is sort of keeping me in this cycle of eating actually not very filling portions of food. Because even if the marketing says low-fat cheese slices or, low-fat Emmental, it's not very filling. It's still, God knows what level of calorie density. And I actually just twigged that you could eat a lot more and actually really fill your boots if you ate far more natural foods and ate them to the point of satisfaction. It was honestly an epiphany. I gradually just started at every meal moving from the calorie dense option, which was often completely barren in micronutrients, as I mentioned. Even if things say that they're fortified, it's just vastly better to get your micronutrients and minerals from natural foods, where they're in combination with water, fiber, antioxidants, the whole 9 yards of loveliness. I started by moving my breakfasts away from Nesquik cereal and golden nuggets to porridge made with either a plant milk or water, and then just covered in a cornucopia of blueberries, raspberries, whatever natural thing I was fancying, and maybe even a tiny bit of maple syrup. Because honestly, I think a lot of the time, perfect can be the enemy of the good. If you have a lot of weight to lose, I had about 14 kilos I wanted to lose. In my mind, I had absolutely no idea how I would manage all 14 kilos. And the truth of the matter is that it took me 18 months. I knew for a fact I wasn't here for a quick fix. I wasn't gonna put up with any more yo-yoing. I wanted to completely put an end to the binging, the bulimia, the secret binges. The whole thing just made my life a complete misery. And then to obviously have the sort of precancerous cell change thing going on as well, and having, I mean, it was really bloody unpleasant, I must say, to have half of your cervix removed with a live electrical wire while you're sitting there awake by the most cold and clinical scary gynecologist that I had ever seen. Anyway, complete tangent. Please do go to your smear tests, they're really important. I basically decided enough was enough. I wasn't going to be playing fast and loose with my health anymore, and I was seriously going to make this change. I had no way of really knowing how long this process was going to take. I was watching quite a few different YouTubers at this time because I'm a very obsessive person actually, and if something is new to me, especially if I can sort of get really sort of nerdy and educated about it, you know, I like to go kind of full send on it. So I found loads of different YouTube channels and loads of different documentaries about natural foods diets, nutritarian diets, and then I found full-blown veganism. And I remember back in 2017 going into 2018 how sort of refreshing it was to see so many women especially adopting this way of eating as a way of actually once and for all overcoming binge restrict cycles. One of my favorite channels was one called Lily Koi Hawaii, and whenever I actually need a mindset reset, I watch her videos, and she has this amazing series about weight loss, and it takes you through the whole thing from sort of being at rock bottom but accepting yourself anyway as the first step to really ensure that this process is one that will see you through your life. And I think her videos really gave me the courage to sort of choose myself. I think in life, when we're not at our most competitive, when we're a bit overweight, you know, not with the best skin, visible cellulite, everything that just makes you want to cringe basically, it's so important that even at our lowest, and possibly especially at our lowest, we choose ourselves. I think lots of us who possibly weren't the best looking, the sportiest, the most popular at school will remember the feeling of being picked last in gym class. And I think to really show yourself you care and to really prove to yourself that you're worth it, you actually have to choose yourself first. You have to say, do you know what? I'm choosing you. You're on my team. And I don't care that you look like a before shot. The only way of getting you from A to B is to just grab you with both hands, bear hug you, and carry you on this journey. Nobody's going to do it for you. You can't spend your life in complete self-loathing, possibly doing yourself actual harm if you've got a very unhealthy lifestyle. All kinds of lifestyle diseases are possible, of course. I personally didn't even have in my mind that cervical cancer was a risk. I started on this journey and it took about 18 months, as I said. Every month I would lose about a kilo. And I didn't want it to go any faster than that. I didn't want to have to pull any tricks on myself. Didn't want to ever feel restricted. And it really was just this gradual weaning process of moving every meal towards a more natural option. And the result was, I mean, I didn't go vegan completely overnight. I toyed with it for a few months actually. My husband and I had both had periods of being vegan previously. We both spoke about it and so many pieces aligned, and we decided, yeah, we were going to do this. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself. My second best decision was starting weightlifting, but I'm gonna save that for another video. But yeah, so from the early part of 2017 to around kind of middle of 2018, I managed to lose 14 kilograms. Honestly, went from feeling like the most lackluster, just energyless, just enervated, just sweaty, someone just so filled with self-disgust. It was honestly really sad, because in so many parts of my life I was trying so hard to be good enough, but I always felt I was having to make a decision between focusing on either good grades, exams, coursework, or focusing on health, well-being, and staying trim. And I honestly could never achieve a balance. It just felt like they were on a seesaw. I could never actually have both at the same time. And I think I'd really sort of almost taught myself that was true through so much self-sabotage, and obviously the binging and restricting was just the sort of theme of the first 5 years of my 20s, basically. Moving my diet towards a whole natural foods diet, which became a completely vegan diet that is now totally locked in for me for so many reasons. I really care about my health. I never ever want to be in a position again where I'm at risk of some kind of lifestyle disease. It doesn't have to be that way, and the more that I can avoid the doctor or being in a hospital, the better. And secondly, for the animals, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge animal lover, and walking on this earth, the less harm I can do to it, to the animals on it, the more at peace I feel in myself. And jointly, those reasons give my life, which can at times really lack meaning, it really gives me this quiet but stable sense of purpose. Obviously, the fact that I'm in really good health and like what I see in the mirror most of the time, it just makes me a more confident person. It makes me a happier person, and it makes it just so much easier for me to choose myself, to look in the mirror and say, I'm not going to wait till I'm worth it. I'm worth it now, and I'm going to keep investing in myself, because now I'm at the age of 35. I feel like everything I do now is going to set the foundation for the rest of my life, whether that's building muscle, learning more healthy habits, learning more about nutrition, exercise, weightlifting, and all the things that come with aging as well. And I think the more informed we are, the more that we can just empower ourselves with the knowledge and with the habits and sort of rewiring, really, that is going to really set ourselves up for long-term success. That is my story of kind of at least health and well-being over the last 7 years. I could and will make a separate video about fitness, because if you do follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see that I'm really seriously into lifting weights, building muscle, and for the last year and a half, actually, I've been on a body recomposition journey. So if you do want a video about that, I would be really excited to make it, actually. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, bye.